The Pied Piper of Hamelin, a tale of mystery and morality. Long ago, in a time of simple villages and cobblestone streets, the tranquil town of Hamelin was overcome by an inexplicable terror. Out of the shadows came a vast infestation of rats, small as teacups, large as cats, jittering and gnawing their way into every corner of the town. These unwelcome guests scurried into homes, devoured food meant for the children, and destroyed sacks of grain saved for winter. Not even the mayor's grand house was spared from the sharp teeth of the invaders. The once cheerful townspeople crowded in the square, their faces pale with fear and despair. "What is to be done? Who will save us?" they cried, their voices a chorus of misery. Then one fateful day help arrived in the most unexpected and peculiar form. As if summoned by the town's sorrow, a man appeared at the town gate. His clothing was like nothing the villagers had ever seen, a cloak stitched with dazzling swirls of red, blue, and gold. A long flute gleamed in his hand, catching the sunlight. Stepping into the town square, the man tilted his head, his dark, mysterious eyes scanning the crowd. "Good people of Hamelin," his voice rang out, smooth and steady, "I understand your pain. Allow me to relieve you of this plague. For a modest payment of 1,000 gold coins, I will rid your town of every last rat." The villagers furrowed their brows, sharing nervous whispers. Who was this man who claimed he could do what no one else could? Was it magic? Was it a trick? But fear gripped their hearts, and the mayor, desperate to restore order, stepped forward hastily. "Stranger, if you can rid Hamelin of the rats, the gold shall be yours." The man, whose name no one even dared to ask, gave a thin, knowing smile. He raised the flute to his lips, and just as the sun began to dip behind the hills, a mysterious tune filled the air. The townsfolk gasped as the first note spilled into the streets, the sound unlike any they had ever heard. It was both beautiful and strange, a melody that seemed alive, weaving through the alleys and paths like a whispering breeze. And then the impossible began. From every crack and shadow, the rats stirred. Their tiny noses flicked toward the source of the sound. One by one, they emerged into the open, drawn as if enchanted by the piper's music. The man walked slowly through the town, his coat shimmering in the fading twilight, and behind him, like a river of fur and tails, the rats followed, all of them, as far as the eye could see. They moved in perfect rhythm to the piper's haunting tune. Through streets, past the marketplace, along the cobbled lanes, the rats marched after the Pied Piper. He took them beyond the bounds of the town, over the hills, and to the great river. With a triumphant final note, he pointed his flute at the water, and one after another the rats plunged in, disappearing beneath the waves forever. Hamelin erupted with cheers. The nightmare was over. Mothers hugged their children, merchants sang in relief, and the mayor beamed with pride. But the piper did not join in their celebration. Silently, he walked back toward the square, his flute dangling at his side. The next morning, Hamelin glowed with joy. Children skipped in the streets again, and shopkeepers reopened their stalls. But amidst the laughter, the brightly dressed figure of the Pied Piper entered the mayor's office, his calm voice cutting through the noise. "Your town is free of rats as promised. I have come for my reward." The mayor, seated at his desk, chuckled. He looked at the piper dismissively. 1,000 gold coins? Surely you jest. You played a tune and took a walk. Take 50 coins and call it generous." The piper's face grew pale, but his eyes burned like silent coals. "We made an agreement," he said, his voice cold and sharp. The mayor shrugged, waving him off. "Be grateful for the 50. Now go on your way." The piper turned without another word, his colorful coat fading into the crowd. The town celebrated late into the night, the echoes of their laughter floating into the hills. Little did they know, their mocking cheers would be the last sounds they shared with their children. As the clock struck midnight, a ghostly tune drifted through Hamelin once more. Softer, sweeter, yet unforgettably eerie, it wrapped the sleeping town in its spell. This was no ordinary music. It was a call for those with the purest hearts. From the small cottages and grand homes alike, the children of Hamelin woke from their beds. Without a word, without a glance behind, they stepped into the streets, their night clothes glowing softly in the moonlight. Hand in hand, they followed the piper as he led them down familiar streets, beyond the comforting glow of lanterns, and over the same hills where the rats had disappeared. But this time, the piper did not stop at the river. Instead, he led the children through a hidden mountain pass, a place lost to the maps of men. When the moon slid behind the clouds and the last note of the flute faded, the children of Hamelin were gone. The morning sun rose on a town transformed by horror. Mothers screamed in the empty bedrooms of their children. Fathers scoured the fields and forests in frantic disbelief, but no footprints, no cries, no hints of the missing children could be found. The people of Hamelin sank into a deep sorrow. The joy of their rat-free town meant nothing without the laughter of their little ones. They had betrayed a solemn promise, and the price was far greater than gold. Years passed, but Hamelin never fully recovered. The townsfolk whispered of the piper, his dazzling coat, and the hypnotic tune that stole their children. Parents warned their sons and daughters, a promise once made must never be broken. To this day, some claim that on quiet nights, when the wind sweeps through the valleys, an otherworldly flute can still be heard, playing the melody of lost innocence and vanished trust. And so ends the tale of the Pied Piper of Hamelin. Children, what do you think of this haunting story? Was the piper a savior punished for the town's greed, or did he cross a line no one should? What does it teach us about promises and their consequences? Let us know your thoughts. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the to hear more enchanting legends from around the world. Remember, every story has a lesson waiting to be discovered. The end.